When you ask most people what godliness is, or what is godly, most people will give you a superficial, carnal interpretation of what godliness is. You see, God is love. So therefore, to be godly means to be a loving man or woman. But most people will tell you it is something carnal. It is something pertaining to outward appearance, something that you do outside of yourself with your flesh. You see, the flesh is on the outside. Outward appearance, that is the lens through which the carnal mind or the carnally minded man or woman perceives reality. They even perceive the spirit or righteousness to be some carnal thing that exists or that you do outside of yourself. Righteousness, for example, is right thoughtness. It is right thinking. What does that have to do with anything that you do outside of you with your flesh or anything? It's not an act, it's right thinking. So what will people tell you what godliness is? They will tell you a godly man and a godly woman, they don't have tattoos. They don't smoke. They never drink alcohol. They never curse. Or any combination or number of outward appearance-based superficial nonsense that doesn't mean anything. You see, God's Son, Christ, which is his loving nature, gave us 2 commandments, right? Those 2 commandments sum up the entire law. The entire law. In perfection, they complete it and perfect it. So there is nothing to add anymore, right? Love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, meaning with all of your thoughts, feelings, with all of your being, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. Note, by the way, in order to love your neighbor as yourself, you have to love yourself as well, right? Because if you hate yourself, you can only approach your neighbor with hate as well, right? You see, you can only project into the world what you are. So do you see how people add to God, which is love? They think, carnally minded people think actually that they are greater than God because they seek to bring people back under the slavery of the Old Testament, of the law, back into bondage to the law, you see? But the law is fulfilled by love. Love overshadows everything, and it completes every law in the scriptures. Let's go through some examples, right? Because people will say, when you say what I just quoted from the scriptures, the words of Christ, they will tell you that you are wicked, that there's something wrong with you, that you are not godly, which means loving. You see, they think godliness is some outward act. That is why they say that you are not godly. But let's look at a couple of scriptures. Let's look at a couple of commandments. Let's look at the 10 commandments. Now, there's a commandment, you shall not kill, right? You shall not murder. Now let's look at it through the lens of love. If I love myself and my neighbor as myself, will I kill my neighbor? The answer is no, and if I don't kill him, I have fulfilled the law through love. Let's continue. Thou shalt not commit adultery. If I love myself and if I love my neighbor as myself, I will not commit adultery because I don't want that to happen to me. You see, I love myself. And I love my neighbor as myself, so I don't do that to my neighbor. Do you see how love fulfills that law as well? We can continue like that through the entire law, through the rest of the 10 commandments, through all of the 613 laws. Matter of fact, I challenge any of you to give me any law from the Old Testament, any law, and show me any law out of the Old Testament that isn't fulfilled by love. I'll wait. Let me tell you, let me spoiler you, you're not going to find any law that is not going to be overshadowed or completed by love, which is God. Stop pretending like you are better than God. Stop walking around pointing your finger at other people, you Pharisee. You carnally minded hypocrite. A hypocrite is an actor. You are a pretender, carnally minded man. Your righteousness is of the flesh. My righteousness is of Christ. Christ is God's loving nature, and love overshadows your righteousness.